All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? Killian
Killian,
here.
is that you? I haven't seen you in a dog's age.
It's been at least 6, maybe 7 days, if you
That's
believe it.
crazy.
It's
Well,
insane.
I don't believe anything. This is a no spin zone because you just plugged yourself into the
Mhm.
bias cut. It's the one and only podcast on the internet hosted by two losers talking about fashion, high, low, and in between. That's my main host, Killian, and I'm the sidekick co-host, Christian.
Don't sell yourself short. You're not a sidekick. You're not the Robin here. Have
Oh,
you been
I
feeling
was
like the Robin? Have you been feeling the crunch of being the side man, the side piece?
no, I'm trying to gas you up. I'm trying to hype you up.
Oh,
You
I'm
know.
feeling gassed. I'm
Um.
always very gassy. There's
Yeah,
one thing
yeah.
you should know about me.
I'm trying to be the guy. Conan O'Brien has like a side piece. I'm trying to be like that guy.
Andy Richter.
Andy Richter. That's
Yeah, Andy
correct.
Richter controls the universe. That guy.
Yeah, 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 no doubt. And for anybody watching, listening, or somehow receiving this transmission, it's a fashion podcast. We host it live on youtube.com, a website created. And what we do is we talk about crazy stuff. If you're listening to this or watching this at a later date, you should join us live at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time because you can
Damn
like
right.
comment and troll us.
And we'll at the very end, we'll engage very heavily with you if you so please. That's what
Yeah, if
we're here to
that's
do.
Yeah. If that's what you're crazy into. Um, Big K, Special
Yes,
K, how are you feeling tonight? What's on your docket?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling tight. You know what I mean? Like tight like a toiger. If
Uh,
you remember that
oh,
line
I have
from
remember Austin Powers.
Austin
From Austin
Powers.
Powers 3, gold member.
Yeah, yeah.
You don't have to
Um,
tell me.
and and I think I'm glad you know. Uh, there's a specific reason for that. I'm feeling tight quite literally because you asked me to do something for this
Mm-hmm.
episode.
Mm-hmm.
Do you recall that you asked me to wear something in
Y-
particular?
yeah, I wanted you to wear that moon shirt from Dover Street Market. What's the designer? Guess what I was
Marine
gonna ask.
Sayre.
Sarah. Yeah, I wanted
Yeah.
you to wear that moon shirt.
So I mean, we out here. I wasn't sure if you remember, but we had to show out. If I can open this gosh dang jacket. There we
for
go,
for everybody
baby. Ooh,
not watching, only listening, Killian is sexually taking off his jacket, revealing a very form-fitting, very svelte moon shirt. That's incredible. I'm so glad you did that for us.
there you go.
Look at that. Look at
Yeah.
that. Guys, he's posing. He's getting a fit off, and
Yeah.
this show is only it only gets better if you watch sequentially.
It is like it's kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe of podcasts,
Yeah.
really.
Yep. Hey Disney, call me.
Yeah.
Call
And
me.
so
Buy us out.
we're very ready for that.
Yeah.
We've paid our dues and
Yeah.
we're looking for the check now.
This is episode 6, 7th episode. So
And there's a reason that we were talking about this. It was in relation to Pedro Pascal. He was wearing like
mm,
a skin tight, sheer skin tone top. And
mm,
I think we were talking specifically about like the femme styling that's going around in menswear right
totally.
now. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And how that was playing into it. And you were telling me about something that you were messing around with.
Yeah,
Care to
yeah.
enlighten the group, share with the group?
I can get pretty feminine myself. And if somebody watching this doesn't know my videos, I released a video where I talked about trends, and I said that. Well, no, that was the video before it. I've just been talking about femininity in men's fashion has been very prominent right now. It's definitely like a prevailing over feet, like going over everything. And I say all of that to just kind of like, if there's somebody out there who's like, oh, I'm afraid to be girly, it's like, get over it. You're boring. You're late. Um, so on TikTok, there is a very popular filter right now. It's called like Bold Glamour, I believe is the name of it. And for all of our UK heads, it's spelled with a U, so it's Bold Glamour.
Ooh, oh, you are like favorites.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this filter has become very trendy, viral, buzzworthy. It's like one of those filters on TikTok where it makes you look hot, which there are a lot of, I guess. But I guess the insidious thing, or the thing that every think piece is being written about, is that it's too unnerving, or it's too subtle. So everybody's going to have
Mm.
the body dysmorphia is going to go off the charts. Um, but
Ooh.
I mean, Big K,
Yeah.
you haven't tried this filter yet?
I haven't tried this at all. I remember seeing like stitches and people demonstrating like the old filters, how they'd put their hand over it and it would still just be a makeup face over it. But then I guess this one is much more robust in some way. But that's really the extent of what
That
I've
you know
seen
about
of
it.
it. And
Yeah.
so you actually used it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean,
I
once
can't
you
believe that you would just stomp all over your manhood like that. You know
I
what I
don't
mean?
care. I don't care. I want people to stomp on
Crazy.
my manhood.
Yeah.
Let me say, I'm sorry, you cut me off. I want people to stomp on my manhood.
There are places you can go for that. I
Um,
know some people.
yeah, there are massage parlors.
Mhm,
This is
mhm.
like we're turning to drive time radio all of a sudden. We're raunchy. We're talking about
We got some edge now, you know what I mean? Except we're gonna ruin that. We can actually, this is a kind of niche that I like. We can stay raunchy, but in um self-deprecating and non-traditionally masculine ways. You know what I mean?
yes,
Like, I'm totally
correct.
fine. I think we're both straight or straight adjacent, but I'm totally fine if the entire world just thinks I'm a little,
Oh,
whatever.
I mean, I've that's been my entire life. If I was
Same.
being serious, I would say that, but I'm being unserious, and I'll say, Killian, don't you dare assume my gender. And before I lose the thread of the story,
Please,
so
please.
the don't put that on the screen. So the Bold Glamour filter has become very popular because you put it on and you look, I don't know, you look hot, but it's hard to discern exactly what is making you look hot. I've seen
Mhm,
some people speculate that it is AI, and maybe they're just speculating that because that is the only thing anyone's talking about right now. It's
mhm.
quasi believable. But here's the thing: when I tried it, all I'm thinking is, damn, I need to wear makeup, because
Ooh.
I was doing a back and forth, like I was turning it on and off, like trying to see like what's changing, and it's
Mhm,
not, when you're already born perfect,
mhm.
it's not like changing my jawline, or it's not like, it's not giving me like anime eyes. It
No,
just
there's
looks
no,
like,
it's like telling God that you're gonna improve him, you
yeah,
know? How
exactly.
much more can you do?
The app's like, sorry. No, but, and I think this is for most people. When I used it, that became evident was, if I wore foundation, if I did contouring, if I did a little concealer here, I
Mhm.
would look hot as hell. I'm like absolutely model looking with that filter on, and it's barely anything. And maybe everyone's gonna get body dysmorphia because of it, but I see that and I'm like, that's aspirational. You've barely changed anything, but
This
I'm
is
gonna.
like what everybody wants, I feel like. Everybody wants a way to cheat themselves being better, but without the danger of being able to be called out and found out for doing so.
Oh,
You know?
100%. But I mean, I think it's I don't think anyone's gonna see that and not immediately say, "Okay, well, Christian has a filter on," because I look like I spent a 3 months in the Mediterranean Sea.
Mhm.
I don't have a wrinkle on my face. My lips are just a little more full. Um, but anyway, that's the hot filter, and our producers at Disney actually said that we need to talk about viral stuff. But the
Oh
main
shit.
story of tonight is Captain America or Ant-Man. Which one's our
Ooh,
favorite?
the Quantum Mania. We're diving in, baby.
Yeah.
So
This off the rails. Please,
let's
Killian.
get it back on then. Let's talk fashion things. And
Okay.
we're staying, I think, adjacent here for a second.
Mhm.
But we're getting closer to fashion. Um, do you know the artist Tommy Cash? You ever heard of this guy?
Cash Money Hero, Young Money.
So
Yeah, I
he's go ahead.
no, I don't have anything else to say.
Nothing. Okay.
What about him?
Yeah. So he's an Estonian rapper, musician, and he is known for silliness in relation to fashion. Like he
Okay.
did some like slippers with Margiela that were like a loaf of bread.
Mm,
Essentially, he did some Converse, I think that were super long, like they were like 8 feet long, stuff like
okay.
that. So he's always just being silly within the
He's
fashion
a
world.
troll.
And he rolled up to the new Y Project show, and we've got his fit on screen here. He's wearing a bed.
Yeah.
He's got the duvet in front of him. He's got the mattress behind him. He's got a pillow behind his head, but he is standing upright. His hair is
It's
tousled
all
and stuck to the pillow.
yeah.
What do you think
Is
about it?
this
First of all, what's your
fashion?
initial reaction?
My initial reaction is that it's hilarious.
Mhm.
Obviously, a lot of effort went into this.
True.
It reminds me something of like the things that Doja Cat was doing. A
Yeah,
couple of fashion, it's almost like it's like meta. It's like commentary.
absolutely. Yeah.
Um, is this fashion? Are we witnessing fashion right now? It reminds me a lot of the
Ooh.
Central St. Martin's look, where it's the person walking down the runway in the kiddie pool.
Mhm.
Um, I mean, obviously, it's not fashion. This is a performance, but it's funny, and it's
Yeah.
like props
It's like
to him.
the intersection of performance art and fashion and making things wearable. It's kind of like the avant-garde taken to the max, right? Taking things that are not traditionally thought of as garments even and turning them into some semblance of such. But I was looking at this, and instead of diving deep into the kind of meaning of it or whatever, I'm just curious if there are any life situations that you would like to turn into a look.
Look, well, I'll say
You,
this: if my girlfriend doesn't already know about this look, I promise you, she's going to want to do it. She
Mhm.
is obsessed with the idea of having her bed all the time.
Oh
We've
yeah.
talked about like different hospital bed situations, basically
Mm.
circumstances where she could never leave the bed.
Hmm.
She's been dreaming of this. Other life situations that I would want to make into an outfit,
Yeah.
maybe podcasting. um,
You know what? That could be easily, I feel like you could work that out. Have you ever seen those camera rigs that are like a backpack and
yeah,
they've got like a stabilizer that goes over the head
it's
to
like
hang them?
those guns from Aliens.
Yes,
It's like yeah, it's just like that.
100%. You could totally rig that up with a mic just coming over the top.
Mhm.
That's a good idea. Damn. I was going vulgar in my head. I started thinking like, oh, could I super glue a toilet to my butt and walk
That's
down the runway?
that's a little too blue for the show. That's a little.
You know
I
what?
don't. No toilet talk. No poopy talk.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Um, I don't know. I mean, I also my impulse is to do an off-color joke. What other?
Uh-oh.
The problem is that I don't really do anything.
See, that's my problem too. Like I guess I could be like a normcore type of thing, like office
Yeah,
drone, just like
yeah.
have a little desk, like attached like a TV dinner tray to my stomach with a little
Uh-huh.
laptop on it or whatever. That's kind of cute, I
That's
guess.
kind of that's a look. That's a fit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, or like the shower costume that what's his face wore in the Karate Kid. These
Oh,
are all
there you go.
related. These are all related.
It's all
Um,
coming together.
you know, what I'll say about the Tommy Cash look.
Mhm.
Last week we looked at some, and this isn't my word. This is what Killian described her as, a bimbo influencer. Last week we saw
Mhm,
who
mhm.
took a like $3,000 Raf Simmons for Prada outfit that was weird. She started weird and she just made it kind of pedestrian by
Yeah,
cutting it all up.
yeah.
And you know, I wanted to dunk on her. We dunked on her
Mhm.
as much as we can because she's like a moment of her content probably has all the views we've ever dreamed of.
Oh,
But
100%.
but the Tommy Cash thing, I'm not dunking on. It's funny. It's stupid and
Oh,
funny.
no, yeah. And
Yeah.
there's, like you noted, there is some artistry to it in a way. Like it's there for a kind of quick laugh. I feel like that's kind of his entire raison d'etre, you know what I mean? He's always kind
Mhm.
of going for just the silly thing that gets a chuckle out of you, and I appreciate that. But there was a lot of work put into the hair, especially. I find impressive the way that they've worked all that out and the kind of angle of the pillow and things. There's legitimate work that went into this.
Yeah. I think that like a costume designer or somebody had to have made it. You know, it's that
Yeah.
you can't buy that fit. I promise you.
Oh God, no.
Um uh Duh. But
So
I think it's pretty cool. I like that's my point. I didn't want to like just
yeah,
slam it.
I think that's important to know. And this actually kind of ties into the next thing that I want to talk about in a
Which is
way because it is about concepts, conceptualization within fashion, right?
yes.
So there was this high snob post. Let me get this up
Where we
here.
get all of our content.
All of the content. We are reactors out here. The
Yeah.
cartoonification of fashion. So this is kind of a trend that's going through right now, if you can call it as much. On screen right here, we have a Loewe piece from a recent collection that's basically like a pixelized shirt and
It
pants, like
it,
Minecraft
it looks
blocks.
like a Minecraft skin. Yeah.
Yep. And they also call out like the Balenciaga steroid boots
Yeah.
that are basically like clown shoes, the Prada puffy loafers and bags and things
Kind
like
of a
that.
kind of a stretch there. This one more or less.
And finally, of course,
Of course.
the Mischief Big Red Astro Boy boots.
Yeah. So the kind of the post the Twazi article is suggesting what that there's a lot of like cartoonish oversimplification of these garments or silhouettes to for some effect.
Yeah,
Um
exactly. And that there's some sort of something interesting there because it's playing with the hyper real. I'm going to be honest with you.
I'm
I don't
listening.
know if you ever did this in school, but you would get a prompt for like an essay or something, and you would just sit down at your computer and be like, "All right, gotta crap this one out. What do
Gotta
we
write
got here?"
something.
You know what I mean? It's I would say a tenuous connection to make between the cartoonism and hyper reality and the metaverse. It's just kind of taking a bunch of buzzwords and concepts and trying to kind of meld them together. I think
Well,
what the interesting thing is here to me is that it is something that multiple designers are doing, playing with this kind of blown up, cartoonish, video gamey kind of aesthetic. And I'm curious to talk on that because I have my thoughts about the whole deal with this thing and how it lands. But let's go over to you for a bit here. What do you think?
let's go over to Christian. Thanks,
Yes.
Wolf. So I'm here in the middle of the war zone. So my immediate thought when you suggested this was
Mhm.
like like looking at the Loewe piece, and I love J Dubs. I think
Oh
I'm a
yeah.
stan of him. I think I've
Mhm.
promoted him on multiple opportunities. This looks chuggy to me. This looks chuggy.
So
This
you
looks
I'll pull back the curtain here for a second. Going into these podcasts, we have like a planning document where we just throw ideas around. leading up to every show. And you use that word in reference to this in that document. And that was a new word to me. So
Oh
enlighten me,
no.
please.
Oh no. That means you're chuggy.
Oh God.
That that
I'm
means that
I'm I'm Chuggy Wuggy.
you're
What
a
does it mean? Chuggy was a bear. What?
you're a millennial, which is
Mhm.
like means you're like 3 seconds away from being a boomer.
Yep.
Me, a zoomer.
Mm.
I look at things that are millennial, like The Office or like J. Crew from 20 years ago,
Uh-huh.
and I go, ugh, gross.
Ooh.
Chuggy. Chuggy,
Okay.
chuggy for anybody who's listening is a young person slang word to basically mean be derisive about anything that is very millennial in aesthetic,
Hmm.
like a la the 2000s or 2010s. So like I look at this T-shirt that we were
Yeah.
looking at, this Loewe one. It makes me think of like there were bags on Etsy, like when you were in high school, I'm assuming
Hmm.
that where like they were made like it looks like a cartoon, it's flat.
Yes.
Like there was like a bunch of stuff that you could like buy from Urban Outfitters or something that was like it's like a cartoon. Um
I'm totally
and
recalling these now. Yeah,
it,
100%.
I get the whole trick of the eye thing. I can't pronounce the
Mhm.
French one, but it's the trick of the eye.
Trompe-l'oeil.
See, this is why we keep this guy around.
French
The
class,
trompe
baby.
l'oeil
Yeah.
of it is kind of interesting. Um, but I mean, like just looking at like the way that this begins this post, it says like increasingly brands are cartoonifying their collections, resulting in clothing and accessories better suited for digital avatars than humans. It feels like the whole metaverse thing is so like shoehorned into being relevant.
Oh God, yeah.
Metaverse is at best 10 years away. It is in no way, shape, or form a function of our lives.
And
And
here's an
this,
interesting thing about that is that are we just seeing things that are a little bit behind in the pipeline? Because I feel like maybe a year and a half ago, a million brands were like, we're a metaverse brand now. We
oh,
bought
I know.
land in the sandbox or in
Oh,
the
no.
metaverse or whatever, and we opened the Gucci vault there. And were there workflows that started then to be like, all right, time to put this into our clothes that are just now hitting the runway?
Yes, yes, queen. That is correct. Basically, the way that Silicon Valley has become, it's like it's just taking L's. Like last year, they were like the metaverse. Facebook will invest $1 trillion, and then like a month later, it's like Facebook has lost
Oh no, our
$1 trillion.
stock cratered.
And now everyone's like, "You like AI though, right? Talk to this robot. Think about that." And now, like, we're gonna see all the delayed chat G. I always call it chat GDP, chat gross domestic
Yeah.
product. Um, and well, that's going to be the fashion that we're going to see down the pipeline before we know it. But I guess like the one piece that is pretty relevant in this whole lineup is the Astro Boy boots by Mischief.
Yes, I was just about to head back to these bad boys. So, if listeners, viewers aren't familiar, Mischief is like a stunt brand, I guess is the easiest way I could describe it. They're
I
always just go ahead.
I think they're like an art collective at best. I think
Mhm.
at worst they're a cynical creative agency.
Yeah.
I've done research thinking about making a video about them, but I don't know. It's hard to put a finger on it. It's the kind of thing where you're like, I don't know if I dislike you because you're corny, or I
Mhm.
deeply respect you because you're doing things that are artistic. I'm not sure,
It's a
but
great question, and here's the thing is I have, like, dove a little deeper as well, like, looking at their app and website and things, and they put out a lot of product. I think they put out a lot more stuff than actually gets traction,
mhm.
and some of the kind of, like, deeper cuts, the B-sides of their release catalog are things that I've looked at and been like, "Oh, that's actually kind of interesting or funny," or, whatever. But the things that seem to really hit for them
Are
also, I
the
mean, I guess this is just pop culture and the algorithm, the lowest common denominator kind of floats to the top, at least occasionally. But I think it falls more into the more negative side of the adjectives that you were using to describe them before.
And to provide a little more context,
Yeah.
mischief is externally, if you're unfamiliar, it is by all definitions internet pranksters or an
Mhm.
art collective. Their first major viral moment came from the Nike quote unquote like holy Jesus shoes,
Mhm.
where they put like holy water in Air Maxes, and it's like you're walking on water. And their intention with that was literally to create something to go viral. So,
Mhm.
like to get, conservatives riled up, to get libtards going, yes, queen, step on God. It was by definition a stunt. They were not partnering with Nike. It was just
Yeah.
to show kind of how curious internet culture is, where such a thing would be viral. So they do a bunch of stuff like that, where they don't seem to they're not like a clothing brand. They're not like producing
No.
regular products.
Yeah.
They are rather doing different kind of stunts, which occasionally coincide with them creating and releasing a product. And that is the red boots that look just like the Japanese onome Astro Boys. It looks like Astro Boys feet.
Yeah.
And they're big plastic or rubber boots. And these went viral. These went big time.
Huge. Yeah.
And they definitely look cartoonish. They look outrageous.
I think it's very fitting that you brought up the fact that they are not a traditional apparel brand,
No.
right? Because I think that's where things like this specifically stop working for me, is that if they were actually really, really trying to do something new with the way a person can look in creating shoes and apparel items that have a unique and different and anime inspired, oversized, kind of plasticky, whatever aesthetic, I can get down with that. Even if it doesn't look good, I can get down with the
Yeah.
concept, but it's a one-off for virality, and that's where it stops working to me.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, I don't fully comprehend the sophistication or like the nuance that goes into a designer's like creating collection after collection, developing and building on an idea or an aesthetic.
Mhm.
I'm not sophisticated enough to get those words, but I did like the Astro Boy boots. If it's a one off, if it's just this and there is no like connection to a deeper design meaning, I still think
Yeah.
it's funny and weird. It's a
Sure.
bizarre thing,
Yeah.
and you know, I guess we're gonna see Astro Boy. If I remember correctly,
Mhm.
he's a robot, but he's got red boots, and then I think he has like a kind of like an underwear. But then I'm pretty sure
Yes.
he's naked on top, if I
Now I
remember
gotta bring it
correctly.
up.
Pull up a picture of Astro Boy for me.
I most certainly can. Give me a moment
Okay.
here.
I'll I'll keep the audience busy. Hey, how's everyone feeling tonight? Can I get a hell yeah in the comments?
Hey.
Yeah, see, Astro Boy has no shirt on. So I want to see some of those looks. I want to see some of that.
See,
Some of that.
if they come out, if this had been the entire look, if they created these briefs, but they were like puffy, plasticky, hyper unreal, like rendered 3 CG looking briefs with the
Hell
boots
yeah.
and like some sort of helmet or something, I would
Well,
actually be kind of hyped, I think.
I mean, I'm quasi hyped. I because I've been curious about Mischief for a little bit. Brooklyn Love. They're in Brooklyn. So I was on the mailing list, and I saw like when they were first started hyping these. I'm like, that's curious.
Mhm.
Because I don't know, they're weird. They're
Yeah.
kind of cool for being so weird.
Yeah.
Um, but that's enough about that,
That's enough
right?
about that. And I want to get into the meat of the episode here.
Okay.
So I put out a video
Hmm.
just this past week about a little old brand called Balenciaga. I reviewed their most recent collection, and there was a lot of happenings leading up to this most recent collection. I don't know how deep we should go here, Christian. Where do you want to start here? What do you think?
Well, I'll start with this. Balenciaga was started by Cristobal Balenciaga in the early 20th
Crystal
century.
Ball Balenciaga, yep.
He was a Spanish designer who moved to Paris, France, and began designing dresses. His contemporary, Christian Dior, called him the master of all of us because he was acclaimed for his skills as an atelier. Killian, that was a bit. We shouldn't start that early. We shouldn't start that. Okay, let me do this. So, Balenciaga's creative director Demna, the artist formerly known as Demna Gvasalia, is a dude who is a iconic designer, iconoclast even. The man-child or brainchild behind Vetements, and he brought that craziness over to Balenciaga. And one thing that Mischief and Demna have in common is they love to make whacked designs just to go viral. I mean, I think Demna is like, okay, we create X amount of pieces and then we make one piece for Fox News to talk about. Because they, talk daytime like news loves going like, this designer pant has no leg holes. Cost $10,000.
Yep.
And it's like most of it, there is typically a level of like designing and like kind of putting the whole design into question that goes into it. But there's also a lot of this is a meme. So that's kind of Demna's MO. In the last, what was it? Last year, a couple of months ago, in very recent memory, Balenciaga kind of took a big L's. And the L's revolved around a controversial ad campaign they ran that had children holding teddy bears that had like bondage stuff on it. And there were also shots of a table with documents on it. And the documents were referencing American Supreme Court, America law, referring to child abuse. So the takeaway could well be that either Balenciaga is trying to sexualize children, that they support this kind of sexualization, or if not, that they think that it's edgy or avant-garde to imply such a thing.
And I want to stop you there because I'm going to put you on the spot here, okay?
Okie dokie.
And I want to know, and this is not binary, this is a spectrum, okay? And you can land anywhere along it. With Balenciaga, with that ad campaign or the ad campaigns collectively, where do you think that lies? Where there's a 10 means that they are secret Jeffrey Epstein cabalists who are trying to spread the message of child abuse to the world. And on the other end, it is they had absolutely no idea what they were doing. They're innocent little babies who are just creating beautiful works and would never dream of doing anything bad or even edgy ever.
I'll tell you straight up. I think it's like probably a 4 or 5.
Totally.
Straight up. I do 10 being they did it on purpose. 1 being they're saints, and actually Demna has been sneaking out and volunteering at a children's shelter. No, I think it was a 4 or 5. And I'll give you a couple of reasons why.
Please.
For one, in the Vogue article that came out before this collection that maybe we'll get to, or maybe we just rant and never talk about it.
Maybe.
In the Vogue article, Vogue interviewed Demna because they're like, Demna, there's a lot of fire on your ass right now. What are you going to do? And one of the things he said explicitly in the interview was that whole ad campaign, like he takes responsibility, he apologizes, he knows it was a mistake, but it was absolutely, he said, not a deliberate attempt to commoditize or like to make art from child abuse. That was
here
a mistake, I guess.
I want to stop you again right here because I got the impression generally by that. I get that it's a person's words. You kind of have to take them at their word. You can't read their mind. But you generally kind of on board with that? And
Do I buy it? Do I believe
yeah,
it?
do you believe that he didn't really mean to do anything? It was just an oversight. He thought it would be a cool image, and that was kind of that.
It goes two ways. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
And I've said 5, which is average, honestly.
Yep.
But on one end of the spectrum, the other thing that Demna kind of is under attack for, he's not really, but it's like he was closely associated with Ye and
Yeah.
his artistic endeavors.
Sure.
Like Demna was the creative director of the like Donda release and shows.
One of the 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Demna was also involved in the Yeezy Gap
Mhm.
pieces. It was engineered by Balenciaga. Needless to say, his association with Kanye, as of recently, doesn't look good.
No.
And if you are kind of, I don't know, like I'm thinking, like if I was working with Kanye, it would be hard to say, like, well, I respect this artist so much. And I'm imagining I'm Demna, but at
Yeah,
the same
yeah.
time, maybe you're hanging out with Kanye and he's like, hey, is that guy a Jew? I hate Jews. And it's like, well, I can't ever talk
Oh,
to you
God.
again. You have
Yeah.
to be excommunicated from my life for saying such a
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
So there's that kind of toss up.
My cat just, like, fell off an entire thing, like, onto my table.
Oh my God.
She just
That's
loves
why
Kanye, dude. She loves Kanye.
I
She was
gotta kick
getting
my
she
cat
got
out.
worked up about this whole
Yeah.
thing.
She's like, Kanye didn't do anything wrong. Which I'm adamant. You know what? I'll be serious on the podcast for a second.
Mhm.
I disavow any child abuse. I disavow any sex with children. I
Brave.
disavow any
You're
anti-Semitic,
so brave,
and
dude.
I have no time for it.
Oh my
Okay,
God.
here's the other thing. Here's the other thing about the ad campaign, because I know
Yeah.
we have to say something.
Okay.
I know, at least from my experience working at big brands,
Mhm.
especially working on like big marketing campaigns, even the creative director or like the talent,
Yep.
even they are inundated with information and stuff and decisions and choices. And sometimes said creative directors can make outrageous choices that throw people's work into the garbage after months just
True.
because they didn't like how a picture looked. And
Yep.
sometimes they basically are signing off on things that it's still their responsibility, but they have so much going on.
Yeah.
It's like, how can we honestly expect that Demna is looking at every minutia, is prepared for any kind of like,
No.
I don't know, thing.
Especially
So
when this was like an ad campaign for their like objects collection for their website. Like if in the grand scheme of things, it was quite a low level campaign
yes,
for the record. For my part, to leave it on this part, I will say I think there was some intentional edge involved in it,
potentially, yeah.
but there's no way they can admit that, because admitting that they were intending to be edgy just feeds the flames and gives the cultural warriors that are trying to light the fire under this thing the ammo to point and say, see, look, they knew what they were doing and they admitted it. They meant
Yeah.
it all along. And so I
I
think that's why I'm with you. It's like a 5.
You know what? I think that is 100% in the realm of probability. And keeping in mind, Demna is the kind of edge lord who
Mhm.
might potentially do something like that, like where he would push a cultural norm.
Mhm.
But now like our world is full of snowflakes. That's right, conservative snowflakes who get
Yeah.
worked up whenever anything is talking about having sex with kids.
And dude, people are out of touch, okay? Like people forget in this day and age where we got TikTok and Twitter and we're all up on everything. People get so out of touch. Like Dolce and Gabbana are out there doing wild boy stuff, and they'll be like, "What? Blackface is bad?
What?
We didn't know. What? We thought it just looked cool. You know what I
Homophobia
mean?"
is bad? We thought that was cool.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
crazy the blind spots that some people have, especially the older you get, generation by generation. You know what I mean?
The old heads, yeah. So needless to say, all of that ramble was to set up
Hmm.
Demna basically had a gun to his head, and they said, if this next Balenciaga
Ooh,
collection
yeah.
doesn't do well, I don't know. I don't know, is what they basically said.
Let's
And
bring it
so
up. Let's bring this collection up here.
he came out swinging. Killian, you
That's what
should
we got to discuss.
you should open with your feelings on it.
Okay. So this is super interesting. There's some stuff that I felt right from the get-go, and there's other things that people have since commented on the video that I made about it that do ring true to me. I found this collection to run through a bunch of Demna staples like the tailoring, the boxiness, the shoulders, the fits, and
Hmm.
various things. He's doing lots and lots of things that he's always done. The hybridization of these like double pants here.
Yeah.
All of this is stuff that he's been mining for 5+ years now at Balenciaga. And to me, all of it just lacked the energy and emotion that I have felt from these ideas and silhouettes from him in the past. That was where I essentially left it. Other people have actually felt like it's a swan song, like he knows he's on his way out, so he's doing a kind of greatest hits. I don't know, but my overall review was that hey, he's still doing Demna stuff. He's still a great designer, and he's one of my favorites within fashion. But for me, it was lacking some sort of soul that's a bit intangible. How about you?
I think you actually said this in another episode, but you said something when Demna first started at Balenciaga. His first show was like the first season of Seinfeld. It wasn't
Hmm.
there yet.
Yeah. Yep.
I
True.
disagree. That's my take.
Hey,
So
okay, hit me.
when Vetements first hit the scene,
Mhm.
it to me was kind of a lot like looking at those Astro Boy boots, where I would see the
Okay.
pieces, everybody in fashion was talking about it,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, this is super weird,
Yeah.
and like it's cool, but I wasn't ready to wear any of it. It was just something that it was interesting to look at. His earliest Vetements stuff.
Yep.
But I remember thinking his first show at Balenciaga kind of felt like what John Donne said about the sonnet, that you need a restriction to
I see.
in
By the way,
order
I've pulled
to
it up right here. This is the fall 2016 Balenciaga collection.
um and I don't know if John Donne actually said that, but he did write sonnets. So what it felt like to me, this first collection felt
Mhm.
like we were seeing Demna's ideas about like silhouettes and clothing and shapes, but it
Mhm.
was being channeled through the structure, the strictness, and the necessity of a massive house. And
Yeah.
my initial feeling was, okay, dude, now you're hitting. Now this is hitting because it's not just like a diaper that's a $1 billion leather bag or something,
I see what
or
you're saying.
like
It's no longer like fashion bad boys turning up their nose at the system. It's like, okay, you've got the keys, now go off.
yeah, exactly. Because that's what Vetmall was. It was like,
Mhm.
it was like Parsons Kids, basically energy.
Right.
But the first collection, I felt like he was applying these shapes and ideas and this
Mhm.
same kind of subversiveness in a way that felt very on point.
I'll
So
say
it
that I think it's look 19. This like shearling, brown shearling aviator jacket has always been a grail of mine.
For sure, I've seen people in that all the time. Come to New York
Ooh,
City, you'll see them everywhere in
ooh.
those Balenciaga Shearlings. Um, So so like looking at this, I mean,
Mhm.
that was kind of also my thinking, and you already
Mm.
kind of phrased it, was this collection feels a lot like a swan song.
Yeah.
Demna, he worked at Margiela at some point
Mhm.
before all of this, and to an extent, the runway itself seems to be kind of like an homage to that. It seems like for a designer who has spent a lot of time, and they both went to Antwerp's School for
True. Yeah.
Twerps.
Right.
This felt like a moment where he's like coming back and he's saying, listen, remember when I first got here, I was the brat who had weird ideas about clothing, but then I showed you all that my weird ideas translate into interesting, bizarre, and transcendentalism, transitional, new shapes and like designs.
Yeah.
That is what I was like. I didn't. I mean, I don't know if this is close reading. Maybe you're doing a better close reading than I am because
So I think this is actually really interesting because I think you are the optimist and I'm maybe the pessimist because I'm reading this as, oh, either
boring and
he's
safe.
playing it safe because he's so scared of losing his job that he's gone too far into and too uptight, or he knows he's getting fired and he's kind of waving us goodbye. Whereas you're kind of looking at it as like, hey, let me just get back to basics and prove why I deserve to be here in the first place.
I mean, I wouldn't. Listen, we're it's a story. We don't know what he wants to do. Oh,
No,
you know what?
yeah.
I didn't put this light on. Do you guys want to see this light?
Oh, they wanted to see that light.
Yeah.
So this is a mainstay of the podcast for our listeners. I don't know how we went this far without people begging and clamoring for the yellow orb, but Christian's brought it back.
The room nipple.
Yep.
Back to Demna. Okay, what was I saying?
Optimism, pessimism. We don't really know what's going to happen. Yeah.
Oh, I was saying this. We're kind of predicting about what he thinks. If I was in Demna's shoes, and I'm not, because they would be big clown shoes or something crazy.
Right.
I would say I would try to move all of my family out of Georgia because who knows what's going to happen there. And I would be thinking to myself, I kicked ass at Balenciaga. Even if people think I'm a pedophile now, there are multiple shows that are like, this is top tier. This is really interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Like even like a recent one where he was doing the global warming show where like the entire runway was water and there was like the apocalypse lighting. Like I think that was sick. If I was Demna, I would be like, ta-da, this is my show. I'm actually going to leave. I think he should leave at this point.
I think that would make sense to me. And I think we'll just kind of have to wait and see because that's where it is that it was kind of a weird collection for better or worse. I think your interpretation of it and enjoyment of it is perfectly valid, but I think one of us will be proven right more so than the other at least, and we'll just have to see which it is.
Put Christopher's comment on the
I would love to read it for us. What do you got?
Hey, Christopher, one of our faithful viewers says, Deadman would be a good director for Margiela since they don't mind designers with past controversies.
Ooh, some Galliano.
Yeah, speaking of anti-Semitism.
Right here.
Galliano's the creative director of Margiela. He was once the darling creative director of Dior. But like Ye, I think he said, and I quote, I love Hitler. I think he might have actually said that. I know he said something else about gas chambers, but Galliano kind of went off on an anti-Semitic rant, and Dior was
very Mel Gibson.
Yeah, they were like, "Oh, you need to go." And a few years later, Margiela is like, "Listen, buddy, we love what you did. We love your work."
Yeah.
And
they're purists. They're all about the clothes, my man.
Yeah. I fear that, that's we think that Margiela is anonymous because he's an artist. But the truth is, if we knew what he was like, if we knew what he really looked like, it would be like every picture of Jeffrey Epstein, Margiela is there.
Exactly.
Every picture of like a serial killer, there's Margiela.
And if you subscribe to our Patreon, you will get our investigative reporting on that. We've got sources. We have interviews.
It's like
actually, we don't have a Patreon and we're not investigative reporters, but that would be wild.
Yeah, we don't have a Patreon because actually, New York Times, or I think it's NPR, whoever owns Serial right now, Serial intro goes, that's the next season. It's us. Is the next season of Serial. And this mystery is about where is Margiela and where are the bodies?
Exposed.
expose.
So time
Um,
flies, my man.
I know when you're just being an idiot and talking about nonsense. Yes,
Yeah, isn't it great? We get to
but
just talk shit every Thursday.
we gotta get to the project.
We got to. Do you want to tee this up for those that may have missed last episode?
Yes, I will. So every episode, we try to do a segment at the end that
Mhm.
hit and miss if we actually get to it. This one, this segment is we should start a brand, and it's
Mhm.
where we talk about where that the two of us should start a brand, and you guys. Last
Mhm.
episode, we asked everyone to draw a picture of a clothing idea that they have for our new brand. I've got my drawing.
Do you?
Yes.
And I seem to remember, I actually didn't go back and reference, so this was just off the dome. I seem to remember that it was like we were being inspired by Steve Jobs and the history of his innovation, and it's like we got to make the Apple of clothing.
Yes.
So that was where I went with it. Things that have technological innovations that have never been dreamed of before.
And that's what I drew up. And I also just finished that Steve Jobs book. So
Beautiful. Who's starting? You want me to go first or do you want to go first?
maybe it'll be funnier if you go first.
Okay, I'm ready. I have a presentation here for everybody.
Ooh
So,
la la.
for those of you who are just listening to this, I designed a pair of tartan plaid bondage pants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And very, Dame Vivian Westwood, the grand dame of
Rip in
them all,
paradise. Yeah.
So kind of up towards the thighs, you've got some bondage tie-offs, and
Mhm.
they do indeed tie off. Okay.
Tourniquet.
But the innovation here, are you familiar with the Nike Air Mags?
Yes.
So these were the pair of sneakers from Back to the Future inspired by it. And the innovation there was like they were self-tightening, self-lacing. They would
lace
grab
themselves.
you nice and tight and you didn't have to lace them up at all. And it saved you time and yada, yada, yada.
And money.
So definitely didn't save you money, buddy.
But
But
that's
these
true.
maybe will, because we'll make them in China. That's where the parts will come from. So the way that these tighten it, much the same type of tech. So inside the condom pocket,
Yep.
the little pocket inside the pocket right there.
That's where Steve Jobs keeps the iPod Shuffle. Yeah.
Exactly. Inside the shuffle pocket is actually a button in the shape of a condom in the condom pocket. And it lights up. You can see here it's green because it's got full battery, but it could also be yellow or red depending on your battery level. Coming out of that is a braided cable that goes down the seam, and that is what does the tightening technology on our bondage trousers.
Damn. How do I wash these pants if there's a lithium battery in them?
We'll figure that out.
Dry clean
And
only.
we definitely won't figure it out, but we'll put some sort of legalese in the tags that absolves us of any liability.
100%. But I'm glad. What's the phrase that I did the project? I need the assignment.
Oh, I understood the assignment.
Yeah. See, I know memes.
Hey.
Mine is also designed being like we said, then the brand that captures us will be the Apple of clothes.
Yep.
Okay, here's my drawing.
Okay.
Let me get it good. Yep, there we go. So, my idea is that it's a parka of sorts.
Okay.
And it's kind of like a full body sort of thing.
Yes.
Think a lot like I called up Demna and I said, "What would you do for a silhouette?" And like I don't want to I'm embarrassed, guys. I know this looks good. I'm not really a drawer, but I actually traced over what Demna gave me, and I added a little stuff. He's got on the Rick Owens, the big Converse or something. And you can see that there are pockets on two sides. And the idea is that in the future, like it's so streamlined. It's so streamlined fashion, and
Mhm.
this is like a streamlined coat that you would wear, and the material is unobtainium.
A so is that
Hey,
what's the so does that mean it's light, strong, warm, some combination thereof?
well, let me put it to you this way:
Yeah.
how much description or understanding of unobtainium have we gotten out of the 8 hours of Avatar that have been released? Goose egg. Who
Much
knows?
less than I would like.
All I know is that it's important.
Yeah,
It's important enough to genocide a species for it.
that's a great point. That if the people in Avatar are any indication, we'll get crazy funding for this because people just
Yes.
want it. Yeah,
James Cameron, get on the horn with me.
eat your
Um,
heart out.
Kyle said something that was funny. He said Kanye would tweet that. You know what? I think I'm understanding how people become evil because
Mhm.
at this point right now in my life, if Kanye, yay, right now today, like called me up and said, "Hey, do you want to work for me? Do you want to be hired?" I'd be kind of like, "Yeah, I guess, yeah. I could use the money. I could use the money, and I could use
Oh,
the exposure."
what's that, Kanye? You need me to screen print Yay 24 on all the Balenciaga stuff you can't sell
No,
anymore?
yeah,
Count me in, baby.
sounds sick. I can't wait. I can't wait to be in a beautiful, austere, like concrete warehouse,
Yeah.
and I'm screen printing on the ground, and he's on top of a table having a manic rant
Yeah.
about how he's repressed
Yeah.
as a multimillionaire. Um, here's the thing, and I really shouldn't give you all of my best ideas. My idea is
No, you
this:
should. Get
in
it.
maybe 10 years or something, and I'll probably have to be a ghostwriter for this because they
Mhm.
won't let me write it.
Uh-huh.
Kanye West the musical. It's a musical based
Ooh.
on his life
Ooh.
with the music of Kanye West. And it begins with like you've got like Through the Wire, All
Yeah.
Falls Down, and like as it keeps going, and obviously, it's edgy and real, and we
Mhm.
talk about how he became like a Nazi, and we talk about his
Mhm.
mom dying. That would be Broadway magic.
A jukebox musical out of Kanye would be so fucking good.
It's
I would eat that up, dude.
I think he has a good because also it's like he is a complicated. He is a person who does bad things. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you've heard of the Greeks, but they think that
Hmm.
people who do bad things make for good characters in a play.
No, actually, I'm pretty sure that Tony Soprano was the first anti-hero ever in creative
Yeah.
writing. So I
I'm
think you're just
walking
wrong.
here. I'm
I don't
Tony
know.
Soprano.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Greeks,
Greece?
the Mediterranean. What is a Mediterranean, and does it even exist anyway? You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah, good point. Good point. I was gonna say, rest in peace, James Gandolfini. Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Say my name.
I love
Jesse.
Breaking Bad. You know what
Jesse.
I mean? Just so sad that he's
Mr.
gone.
White. I don't know. Bitch.
We have reached that time in the program where we
Okay.
hang out with y'all.
Yeah, we did. We're even running out of time. Any like so this is the part of the podcast where we usually peter down, I
Mhm.
got all my energy out, we got all our energy out. And we turn to the audience. Here's one thing I'm gonna ask the audience. I'm gonna ask Cowboy, aka Mab, aka whatever he goes by. You DM'd me. Did you DM me a picture? Please respond in the comments
You better.
because I apparently missed his DM.
Oh, uh-oh.
I've only gotten started responding to DMs. Yes. Oh, shoot. Well, my phone is my camera.
Oh god.
So I can't even pull it up.
We'll
Can
save it
you
for next.
pull-
You know what? Here's what we got to do.
We'll save it for next time.
Let's come up what we need the action item for next time,
Yeah.
and we'll bring that in for that episode. So action item, we need to write the mission statement
Okay.
for our brand, and may the best man win.
Okay. That's how, and for everybody watching who still wants to participate, and I will do much better, we are still accepting
Absolutely.
drawings.
And once again, I will say, if you send us a drawing, that is an agreement that we then own it and can produce it in mass quantities. Don't let that stop you, though. It'll be great exposure for you. So
it's the Virgil Abloh clause. If
Yeah.
you DM me something, I can steal it
Mhm.
and then make millions from it.
Exactly.
Let me just for our audience own well-being, their own like need. Does anybody have any questions or concerns they would like to
hit
address? Rip though. Let's see. What's your kitty's name?
Aw, Kelly. I will tell you my kitty's name. I've got two actually. The one that did a nosedive because she loved Kanye so much. Her name is Ivy. And then I also have Griffin. Yeah.
Is that like, are you into Harry Potter?
No, so I think he was my parent, and I think my brother named him Griffey, like Ken Griffey, but I'm not willing to accept that he's named after Ken Griffey, so we just elongated it to Griffin, which Griffey is short for.
Okay, I mean that's fair, and
Well, roundabout, you know what I mean?
Harry Potter didn't make Griffins. I don't even know if there are Griffins in Harry Potter. I've never read it, but I know
Gryffindor, right? It's got to be
Gryffindor, but they only have. I've only seen hippogriffs. They only have hippogriffs. I've never seen a griffin in that universe.
So Harry Potter invented the concept of slithering, right? Like slithering didn't exist before Harry Potter.
Yeah, like snakes didn't exist.
No. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's pretty dope of them. Good on them.
That is dope. And honestly, the kind of brilliant mind that could invent snakes, I also take whatever they say regarding sex and gender as gospel, as science.
Right.
You know,
we got a question. Z, when does it become cool to not have an iPhone, or will that be the in fashion brand of phone for all eternity? Great question.
Well, based on the Steve Jobs, first off, dumb username Z. I just
maybe
read
it's Zed. Maybe they're
Zed.
English.
It must be Zed.
Yeah.
Oi, Zed. I think that as long as, I mean, the brass taxes, no other brand, no other tech brand, and basically no other consumer brand that does industrial design has invested as much appreciation or time into establishing their aesthetic, and like they are the brawn of today. I don't think that there are, maybe like there are other small brands that do this, but there are so few brands that are even close to Apple size that are so doggedly invested in developing pieces in esoteric is the wrong word, but like single-minded thought process. So I think that the iPhone will probably be cool until some other company is able to invest enough time and money to actually produce something as intuitive and kind of seamless as it is. Because they also, I'm imagining for that to actually happen, it doesn't run on Android. It runs on its own OS like Apple does, right? Like the Apple is all it's cohesive.
Yeah, I think it's totally possible though. Like it's only a temporal thing now, and for the relatively distant past that Apple has been on top. Like I feel like before them, the Sidekick was the cool thing, and that was very un-Apple-like. That was more popular out of I don't know. It's kind of like what Gen Z would love now, like the most social media friendly device, right? And I feel like nothing has come kind of close to stealing that coolness, right? The Nothing One phone.
I I mean, ultimately, the iPhone is possibly, as stupid as it sounds, it's possibly the most impactful device of our time.
Yeah.
It's or product of our time, and it's hard not to see all of the other any Android and any other touchscreen phone as being, in some ways, a reaction to or a copy of the original iPhone. They are in essence copying what Apple was setting up.
Yeah.
Folding screen phones kind of cool. They are
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
kind of
cool.
like the also
They
ran the
are.
Samsung, like that. I would also give them an honorable mention, but to me,
And
yeah.
Samsung makes incredible phones. They make
Yes,
phones as good as Apple.
100%.
I just don't want I don't want to be on Windows. I want a Windows version of my phone. I want the cohesion.
To me, the Samsungs are kind of like the smartphone equivalent of the Oakley's wraparound glasses. Like they're
Yes.
almost too matrixy and like techy to be like an it device. You know what I mean?
That's what they say, and then everything changes. I think as soon as Samsung or whoever can engineer it so that the screen doesn't ultimately get a crease and break,
Yeah, that
then
sucks. Yeah.
there were actually some good questions in here. Like,
I was about to bring up the anime one.
okay, hold on, wait 1 second. You keep talking.
Kyung
Do it.
Lang, I hope I didn't butcher that. I'm so sorry if I did. Thoughts on anime and fashion collabs, i.e., Loewe, Studio Ghibli, Supreme Akira, Undercover Evangelion, all that stuff. It's big for sure. It's a thing.
I
What do you
still
got
got
for me?
one. I still got one.
Ooh,
Preem
a
with the drugs on it.
hell yeah.
Um, I think that anime is for weebs.
Hmm.
And it's cringe.
So if there's one thing that I will say, and this is zero hate to anybody who is into anime, I am so glad I never got into it because I would be donezo, dude. If
Yeah.
I got into anime when other people were in my age group, dude, I would be full weeb.
Yeah, they'd be kicking your ass every day.
Yeah, yeah. And there's
At
like
work.
nothing wrong with that, but I feel like I'm already uncool enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like I'm
Akira's dope though.
Akira's pretty cool.
You know?
I'm being facetious. I'm joking. But also, like, here's the thing. What's that name of that show? Evangelion? The one
Mhm.
with the really cool theme song?
Yeah, yeah,
Bunch of
and
people
the theme song and the mechs and
like
the
the
yeah.
Max. And that, I was like, oh, I'll like this. People are trying to convince me to watch it. And I'm like,
Mhm,
I love Gundams. I love
mhm.
Gundam Wing. That show, honestly, here's the thing. Here's the brass tacks. I have a hard time watching a show when so much, like every episode, there's like a jailbait stuff. Like, is an adult gonna have sex with this titty girl? It's like that
Yeah.
is gross to me. That
Yep.
isn't entertaining. I have a hard time suspending disbelief when there's all this like gross child fantasy.
Totally.
And it's like, it's not even the Balenciaga thing. That is, this is, they're saying that they
That's
want to have sex with a
intended. It's
child.
very intended in their case. The will they, won't they? Yeah, that's ooh, ooh.
And I wanted to like it. I wanted to like the
Me
show.
too.
I
I've watched
couldn't.
like 4 of them, and I
And
had
I'm
the
like,
exact same experience.
I'm like, you know, and that's supposed to be like studio. I mean, like everything studio, Ghibli,
Mhm.
everything they make is iconic. So
Yeah.
there are always exceptions.
Oh
And
yeah,
I also
always.
know Astro Boy, and I will probably know like several other anime references. So I just keep you guys on your toes. I tell you I hate things that maybe I don't. That's the end, I think. I think that's the
Definitely.
end of the show.
That's the end. I love it. Studio Ghibli.
Yes.
That's the way to say it. Correct.
Studio Jiggly.
All right, Christian, where can people find you?
You can find me right in the ninth circle of hell. Um, I'm here on the internet. I am on YouTube called Brave New Wear, where I release content whenever I like. Or you can find me on Instagram. It's Christian underscore Shabetta.
You can find me here on YouTube, Low Luxury, all one word. Instagram, Low Luxury with little underscore flat boys on either end of it.
Flat boy.
Flat boy. So everybody, thank you so much for joining. This was a blast.
Thank you, everyone. And for everybody who asked comments and then we didn't get to it, well, I'm going to write them down or something.
Oh, hell
just
yeah.
come back.
Love that.
Come back next time. I swear we'll talk to you.
It's like AA. Just keep coming back.
Just keep coming back, guys. Come on.
Yep. Well, this has been The Bias Cut.
The Bias Cut.
Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you next time.
Good night, everyone.
Peace.